I don't have a thumb drive.
Viewer beware, you're in for a scare.
Get out of my head!
Good evening, chocolatiers. We are almost there. Tomorrow is it. So for today, October 30th, we are revisiting one of the most underrated horror sequels of the modern era, Dr. Sleep, directed by Mike Flanagan, based on Stephen King's novel, and serving as both a follow-up to The Shining and a spiritual redemption story for its survivors. Now, pulling off a sequel to The Shining, one of the most iconic horror films ever, sounds pretty impossible, but somehow Dr. Sleep manages to walk that impossible line between Kubrick's cold perfection and King's emotional heart. And honestly, it is one of my favorite films of the 2010s. So when I had first heard about Dr. Sleep, I actually didn't know how to feel. A sequel to The Shining, a movie that I had watched when I was younger, but didn't really know that much about. But after nearly 40 years, how could that possibly work? But then I heard Mike Flanagan was directing, the same guy behind The Haunting of Hill House, Midnight Mass, Gerald's Game, and instantly I had hope. Flanagan is one of the few modern directors who truly understands the soul of horror, that fear means nothing if you don't care about the people experiencing it, mostly like a King story. And that is exactly what Dr. Sleep nails. The story picks up decades after The Shining. Danny Torrance, played by Ewan McGregor, is all grown up, but still haunted by the ghost of the Overlook Hotel and his father's madness. Now, an alcoholic like his father, he is trying to bury his trauma. Danny's hit rock bottom, but when he moves to a small town and starts working at a hospice clinic, he finds peace. He helps the dying pass on, using what's left of his psychic power of the shine, and that's where the nickname Dr. Sleep comes from. But peace never lasts long in a Stephen King story, and a powerful psychic cult called the True Knot, led by Rebecca Ferguson as the Rose the Hat, begins feeding on the souls of children who have the shine, literally inhaling their fear and pain to stay immortal. When a gifted young girl named Abra connects with Danny telepathically, he's forced to confront both his past and his new evil, leading to one of the most emotional and haunting third acts that I've ever seen in a horror film. Ewan McGregor delivers one of the best performances ever. His version of Danny is broken, but he's compassionate. He's scarred, but yet hopeful. You can feel the pain of his childhood in every quiet look that he gives, and every time he drinks, or every time he wants to drink, every line that he mutters, you feel it all. Rebecca Ferguson as Rose the Hat is easily one of the best horror villains of the last decade. She's magnetic, seductive, terrifying, and utterly human, and because you got baby girl to play her, she working on me. So you understand her hunger, even if she's just monstrous. Then we have the young girl playing Abra, who is incredible too. She gives the movie its heart. Her dynamic with Danny is the emotional center, like a torch being passed from one generation of shiners to the next. And then we see Carl Lumbly as Dick Halloran and Alex Asso as Wendy Torrance in those recreated moments from the past, and it gives you absolute chills. Mike Flanagan does something truly rare here. He honors both Kubrick and King, and he treats the Shining movie as canon while still staying faithful to King's original vision, since he didn't really like the original movie. He even fixes the things, like I said, that King hated about the Kubrick version. And so with that, you get a lot of visuals that are very stunning. The way Flanagan balances that realism with dreamlike horror is masterful. Those transitions between worlds, the way the camera glides through psychic battles, the color palettes shifting between cold blues and warm oranges, and the sound design, holy hell. Every whisper, every heartbeat, every echo feels like it's crawling under your skin, and the music composed by the Newton brothers is haunting and hypnotic. It's full of echoes from the original Shining score while still feeling new. At its core, Dr. Sleep isn't about ghosts, it's about healing. It's about facing your trauma, forgiving the past, and learning to live with your shine instead of hiding it. Danny's journey mirrors recovery from addiction to guilt to fear. Where The Shining was about being consumed by that darkness, Dr. Sleep is about finding that light again. It's also about empathy. The idea that power doesn't have to corrupt, it can connect us. That is what makes it so different from most horror sequels, because it is hopeful. Now let's talk about some standout scenes. The baseball boy scene is horrifying, brutal, and genuinely hard to watch. It shows just how evil the True Knot really is. The astral projection scene, battle between Ibra and Rose, is visually stunning and tense, and the return to the Overlook Hotel is pure chills. Flanagan recreates those sets perfectly from the carpet to the lighting, and it's not necessarily nostalgia, it's just closure that you've been wanting. And that final scene with Danny confronting his past one last time is tragic, cathartic, and beautiful. If there's any flaws in this film, it's really that the theatrical cut tries to fit a lot into one movie, and the director's cut, which I highly recommend if you own it physically, adds 30 minutes and makes everything flow a lot better, especially the character arcs and the pacing. Without that version, the movie might feel a little uneven at time, a little rushed for a first-time viewer. But honestly, that is just a small complaint in a film that is emotionally rich. Dr. Sleep is everything a sequel should be. It's respectful, emotional, and bold enough to stand on its own without you really having even watched The Shining. It's scary, but it's also healing, and it turns the trauma of The Shining into something hopeful without ever losing the haunting edge that made it iconic. It's not just a horror sequel, it's a story about surviving the ghosts that live inside you. Dr. Sleep is both haunting, heartfelt, and one of the best Stephen King adaptations ever made. That is another one down for Oktoberfest 2025. We got one more to go covering Casper tomorrow. So with that, do you prefer The Shining or Dr. Sleep? And if you've seen the director's cut, did it change your opinion of the film and push this one ahead of The Shining? If you didn't, whatever. If you are loving this spooky series, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell because the ghosts of Oktoberfest aren't done haunting yet. Little Casper reference for you right there.